Okay, hole number one is uphill, says 322. Definitely plays longer than that. It is up at the top of the hill. Should be able to see it now. To the left of the bigger tree there. It's really just a huck it, don't throw it into the trees. Those trees are pretty easy to clear, so just get it up and over them. You can throw forehand out to the left. I prefer being left because up to the right of the pin, second, there's a big tree that blocks any approaches. So you really want to be left of this pin on the approach. Usually going to have, somewhere between, 70 to 100 feet. Today it's windy, so it'll be closer to 100. All right, number two is one of the best ace runs on the course. 216 feet, slightly uphill, probably 15 feet. Just get it around the tree on the left and let it face on the tree on the right, or just throw it down straight. There's a little gap in the tree on the left that you can actually hit and park it. Anyway, this is an ace run on Must Get Birdie. Hole three, 245 foot Mando. So the tree right, tall one right there, or left there, second to the left is a Mando, and a pin is way over there. So you throw something up on a massive hyzer, nice high hyzer, and let it just fade in there. I throw the resistor, and it's a pretty straightforward shot. Not really hard or easy. Not usually something you gotta worry about bogeying, but you can certainly birdie it. Number four, 273 feet. Walking up to the tee box. This hole is probably the most confounding hole on the course for me. Doesn't look hard, it's 273 feet straight away. It's just there's a lot of trees and there's not a clear line. There's a few big trees out on the horizon there. And the one in the middle, if you go just to the left of it, straight, or just to the right of it and high with a hyzer, you have a good one. I think a good player, a power player, would just throw a spike hyzer. It's a raised basket, and you can't see it from here, but trust me, it's out there, and there'll be an effect to tell you approximately where. All right, this is the fifth hole. This is the beast, one of the tougher tournament holes there could be. Let's get a look at this. My shadow's in the way. But yeah, that says par 3, 508. And see the road? All down the left side is out of bounds, all 500 feet of it. And you can't see it. I'll show it to you with an effect. There's a Mando. To the right of the Mando, there's a gap, but there's a scraggly tree bush thing right to the right of it. And then over on the right side of the whole fairway, if you try to bail out, you're gonna hit one of those trees and just get knocked down. So there's a play over the trees, the big trees out there, with something fairly neutral to slightly stable. Just whip it out over the trees. I use a Pro Thunderbird, and it'll get out there. It'll then fade into the fairway. That's pretty nice if you catch it right. If you let it out early, you could be in some big trouble. You're gonna go out of bounds early and then take a big number. So this is a par 3, easy to make a 5 or a 6 if you start throwing them out of bounds. Okay, there's the Mando right there, the scraggly bush. That does, yes, catch a lot of discs. Mando sometimes has a flag on it, but that flag probably gets blown down quite a bit. So on tournament days, it'll have a flag, I'm sure. There is the drop zone for the Mando. Miss it, you go there. And then a lot of the decent drives will end up in this area, as you can tell by all the footsteps. There's a nice ditch now that used to be there, but that ditch catches some discs that are rolling. So that's a nice little feature now. I fell in that ditch and tore my hand up though. Here's about the best you can think of for a drive, maybe a little bit farther down. I throw a forehand zone out over the road and let it just fade back in. If I'm right here, I'll just throw a backhand. So in a tournament, this is going to play as a par 3, but it is definitely not a par 3. You have to get through this gap here, or you have to go out over the road and take your chances. And that's out, that's probably a 180-foot approach, something like that. So it's not trivial. And then if you get in here, there's just lots of garbage that you can get stuck in, even in circle 1. Now, the stuff near the basket's not terrible, but this stuff over here, if you go out over the road and catch it, it'll stop your disc. So, it's a really, really hard par 3. And my guess on tournament day, this is going to have a scoring average over 4. So if you make a par on this hole, you're going to keep gaining strokes for sure. All right, hole number 6 at Watson Lake. This is also, I would consider, one of the signature holes. They have so many. It is 279 feet. Going long, it drops off over that hill pretty quickly. So you don't want to go long. Going short, it's very uphill into the rocks. I either throw the practice putter or the hex. Both of those are obviously go-to discs. So it's pretty straightforward. Throw it at that pin, but don't throw it too far. Okay, maybe I'm saying signature hole a lot, but number 7 at Watson Lake is definitely a signature hole. You get this great view from the tee pad all the way around. It's just, pretty spectacular. There's the landscape. So the hole is up there. It's about 292 playing into the wind, and there actually is a bit of a breeze today. It's pretty straightforward. You want to throw something because of the breeze that's stable. If there's no wind, you can throw something that's a little bit more flippy. I throw a Mamba up to that pin on Hyzer Flex. The pin is higher than the tee box by probably 10 or 20 feet. So you got to get it up there. There's a tree over to the right that is kind of blocking the nice little Hyzer flight in. So sometimes it's nice to be coming straight in or go over that. I can't really go over it, so I hit it a lot. Kenny, you go over it. Birdied it yesterday. The walk between 7 and 8 is about, I don't know, 500-600 meters. So it's actually a pretty long walk, but you get this view when you're walking, and it's pretty awesome. This is the trail that goes around the lake, actually, right here. And I'm telling you, careful, there's disc golfers. Hopefully disc golfers are careful. So if you're wondering why you're not getting scores on the holes, it's because today I forgot that with the mud and all the crap that gets on your shoes, those shoes do not go in the house, they stay in the garage. They're dirty as hell. But I wear their slip-ons. These like nice slip-on old man barrels. And they come right off, right like this. But the problem is, when you're throwing, guess what they do? They come right off. So I'm having trouble with all my releases today. So I'm not really talking about the scores because none of the throws are any good. All right, hole number 8 is the first of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ace runs in a row. The 5th one's not really that easy, but the other 4 are doable. Of course, I haven't done them. They're doable. Anyway, this is 215. It's downhill. In a tournament, the path you can't see, but is out of bounds left. The wind is blowing pretty hard. So, and usually, you're up here on a little perch, so it'll get you if there's wind. I throw a mid-range tool putter. I like a rock just because of the stability, or rock 3. You throw it, I can throw also a forehand, a little more dangerous with the out of bounds left, but throw something stable and it'll turn into the basket and actually make more birdies that way. But the tree right in the middle, you want to go right at that and then have it fade out left towards the basket, which is right behind that tree in front of me. This hole number 9, it says 311 feet downhill. It's not 311 feet. There is a pin that's way out on the rocks out there. That's you lose your disc if you go for it for sure. Lots of ways to feed down in the water there, but the actual pin for this one is right down there. There's a tree over there, kind of right of center. There's a pin just see it very low here, but they'll make effect. I think it's probably about 240, 230 downhill. And I just throw a pig or a zone, sometimes a hex, but the hex and the resistor will go too far. But definitely a forehand for me that just fades back to the pin. So throw it out over this kind of line of bushes down left of the path, and then just let it fade into the pin. The pig is the best. Pig just drops out of the air next to the basket and looks at the ending pig. It's a nice hole, but fairly short.